Lord Falkland bets Lord Jefferson Blount £250 that Lord Haworth will ensure the ruination of Lady Georgiana Bexley-Smythe by the 15th of May, unless the Marquis of Stallbridge returns to town and settles his debts before that date. 19th of April, 1813. Chapter 1. Damn Bridge to hell and back, and then to hell again for good measure. Cedric Loring, 4th Earl of Montague, called upon every blessed ounce of patience he still possessed, which admittedly was very little, as he strained to ignore the bet written just above the position of his quill in the book at White's. The implement shuddered ever so slightly in his hand, so he gritted his teeth, dipped it in the ink-pot once more, and then wrote, Lord Montague bets Mr. Nelson Guest £50 that the first week of the 1813 season will pass without a betrothal announcement, the 19th of April, 1813. His bet was perfectly harmless, just a way to ease himself into the new season. After all, visiting White's was what a gentleman was expected to do whilst in town, and what was one to do while visiting White's but wager on inane and meaningless things? The wager involving Georgie, however, was neither inane nor meaningless. Cedric resituated the quill where he'd found it, and then turned to Guest, slapping a hand on his back. That settles it, then, at least until one of us can collect from the other. And so it does. Guest gave him a droll smile. I'll be happy to accept my winnings from you here next Monday. Cedric gave a half-hearted laugh. We shall see, my friend, we shall see. There were other things he needed to see to first, however, not the least of which was the protection of his longest friend's sister. For now I must be off. Without wasting any more time in the banal gentleman's club, he gathered his hat and gloves and made his escape, lest he be drawn into something else of the fruitless and senseless variety. Once out on St. James's Street, he pulled out his watch fob. 3 o'clock. Perhaps a bit early for a call, but surely Lady Stallbridge would forgive him for such abnormality. It was only the first day of the new season, after all. The ladies wouldn't have been out too late last night. Cedric turned up Piccadilly and made his way to number 7 Berkeley Square. Jensen led him into the drawing-room without even the slightest hint of surprise at his early and unexpected arrival. "I'll inform Lady Stallbridge of your arrival, my lord, and Eloise will be in with tea service momentarily," the stodgy, greying butler said. He gave a brief inclination of his head before departing. Cedric used the few moments he had alone to gather his wits about him. Lady Stallbridge and her daughters must not discover that Georgie's name was in the book at White's. The Marchioness could possibly learn of it when Georgie neglected to receive a voucher for Almack's. That said, there were more than enough other reasons for the patronesses to look down their lofty noses through their ever-present lorgnettes upon the Bexley-Smythe family, so Lady Stallbridge might not suspect the truth simply from that anomaly. Perhaps more pressing than keeping the ladies in the dark about Georgie's name being in the book, Cedric knew without a doubt that he would have to protect her from the bet itself. Haworth couldn't step one single foot near the girl. Bewilderingly intelligent she may be, but common sense had never been one of Georgie's best attributes. She'd fall for the man's charms and be lost in an instant. And then there was the matter of her brother. Whether Bridge intended to grace London with his presence before mid-May was anyone's guess. The man's ability to settle his debts upon whatever occasion he arrived, however, was not a matter of conjecture for anyone who knew him. Percy Bexley-Smythe, Marquis of Stallbridge, was, to be plain, strapped. Everything not carefully placed in trust by the previous Marquis for Bridge's mother and sisters was gone, and Bridge had accumulated debts up to his eyeballs in the 2 years since he'd inherited the marquisate. Probably higher than his eyeballs, truth be told, and he was quite a tall man.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.